Today I'm going to talk about the origin of the Linga worship of Siva. During the early medieval period of India, temple worship and devotional cults, which are based upon the emotional and personal worship of Siva, the avatars of Vishnu, and various goddesses, become more popular than the old Vedic sacrifice and the Vedic-based religious practice. And unlike Buddhism and Jainism, this new type of Hindu worship did not reject Vedic authority but sought to maintain continuity with the earlier Vedic tradition. Saivism is one of the most popular devotional cults, and the worship of the Shiva's Linga is regarded as the primary ritual act in Saivism. A Hindu religious text known as the Karma Purana describes the origin of this ritual practice. This text was originally composed by a group of Vishnu worshippers during the early medieval time. According to a legend, a group of sages goes to the Naimisa forest to ask Vishnu a question. Vishnu, who incarnates as a big tortoise to support the cosmic mountain on his sail during the churning of the Milk Ocean, reveals the teaching which later formed the heart of the Karma Puranas. It is around the early 8th century that the Pasupatas, a group of Siva worshippers who devote to and worship him as Pasupatis or the law of animals, appropriate and rewrote the text by adding numerous accounts of Siva deeds and directions for worshipping Siva. And therefore, a text which was originally dedicated to Vishnu was now become a text dedicated to Siva. Although Vishnu and other deities will appear in the renewed text, their statue has clearly been subordinated to the statue of Siva. The Karma Puranas tells a story about how the worship of Siva Linga was first instituted and practiced among human beings. The story begins with a group of sages, along with their wives and sons, who retired to the pine forest in the Himalayas to practice Vedic sacrifice and austerities, which are regarded as a traditional Vedic practice that can not only uphold the continuous existence of the universe, but also enable the practitioner to attain liberation. However, the great god Siva judged that these practices are merely useful for worldly purposes, such as good health, wealth, and harvest, and so they are not powerful enough to lead the practitioner to the highest level of liberation. He decided to intervene their practice by tricking them first, and then teach them a new and superior form of religious practice, which is the worship of his linga. He goes to the forest and appears as a handsome young man in front of the sages, while Vishnu incarnates as his beautiful wife. They fool the sages with the power of Maya or illusion, so that they cannot perceive the true nature. Infuriated by Siva's flirtation with the wife, the sages curse and beat him. Finally, they order Siva to pull out his linga, and as Siva does it, he and Vishnu disappear suddenly. The sages are perplexed, and then they go to find the great creator god Brahma to ask about the identity of that two forest intruders. Brahma tells them that the intruders are the incarnation of Siva and Vishnu, and they have made a very big mistake because they have failed to recognize and insult the greatest gods in the universe. As a result of this great mistake, all of the previous good karma becomes worthless. Brahma tells the sages that Siva and Vishnu are manifestations of one supreme divinity which creates the whole universe and acts as the law of all things. Siva is the embodiment of the Vedas, and thus it is not only through the divine power of Siva that people can attain final liberation. However, People always fail to perceive the true nature or reality of Siva due to his power of Maya, which creates illusion to stir up their ignorance. Brahma tells the sages that if they want to be saved from Siva fury and ignorance, they need to make a copy of Siva Linga and then worship it. During the worship, the traditional Vedic rules such as celibacy, austerities, and chanting must be followed. Among the various Vedic practices, Brahma emphasized the chanting of the 100 names of Siva. It is not the old Vedic sacrifice, but the new Linga worship that can enable the devotees to eliminate their ignorance and unrighteousness, perceive the true nature of Siva, and finally achieve final liberation from suffering. Siva grace will take all their pain away and enlighten them to the achievement of yogic practice and knowledge. And it is the highest form of knowledge that Brahma and Siva emphasize. As Brahma declares, knowledge and yogic practice should be understood as a twofold method for man attainment. Knowledge, together with practice, grant liberation to man. But the highest being is not sinful yoga alone, since only knowledge can give the fruit of final liberation. So now, through your own efforts, you should hear, see, and understand the pure knowledge that led to the attainment of liberation. The whole story ends with a final passage which insists that whoever reads the story will be released from all sins, and whoever recites the story will attain the highest spiritual state. This story reveals several important themes in Hindu religion. Firstly, the story emphasizes monotheism, in which Siva appears as the most important and greatness among all gods. The Pasupatas, the authors of this story, believe that Vishnu, Brahma, and other deities are merely different aspects or manifestations of Siva, and thus they make the multiplicity of Hindu deity into a single godhead, which is Siva. Secondly, although both Vedic and yogic traditions are emphasized, it is the yogic form of knowledge that is viewed as the higher practice, which leads to final liberation. Since it is only through the combination of yogic knowledge and Linga worship that the devotees can perceive the true nature of Siva. There is nothing but Linga, which is Siva mark, that can help the devotee to perceive Siva. Firstly, the Vedic texts are greatly emphasized, for the chanting of the Vedas plays an important role during the Linga worship. Moreover, Siva tells the sages that they should not follow any system of knowledge outside the Vedas. They can only worship him, who is the embodiment of the Vedas.